Welcome to 3 Degrees with proper fangirl Heather Anna. Oh my goodness, have I got a delicious episode for you today. Today we are talking about Prince, Missy Elliott, and my new favorite gal, Lizzo. Brand new album out. Don't listen to it right now, but maybe put it on a device in another room, just kind of as the background music to this entire episode, because it's just so good and we want to give it all the streams. Okay? I want you guys to, how do I want you to be this time? Probably on the couch. Turn the AC down pretty far so it's a little bit chilly. Get a blanket, cuddle up, favorite beverage in your hand, Coca-Cola, coffee, mimosa, marg, whatever floats your boat. And let's enjoy today's episode because I'm excited about this one. I'm pretty pleased with everything that I learned. Such a new appreciation that I have for each one of these artists. I mean, I already love Lizzo. I didn't know very much about Missy Elliott, and I certainly didn't know anything about Prince except Purple Rain and Kiss. And, well, you'll hear the rest of it. All right, guys, get ready. This is today's episode of 3 Degrees. Okay, first up on the docket is Prince Rogers Nelson. Yeah, 100%. He was given the name at birth, Prince. Did you know that? I 100% thought that that was something that he gave himself, much like the symbol that comes later. But no, his dad, the jazz pianist, his mother, the aspiring singer, yeah, they decided on Prince. But Dad was a little jelly. Dad was living a life that was not truly authentic. And when I say he wasn't living an authentic life, what I mean was he went to church and preached to his fellow church members that in their religion, they don't smoke or drink. Meanwhile, he's going to the bars, doing all the drinking and the smoking. And it was Dad's real dream to be an artist. He didn't want to have to compete with his son. When he tried to teach him the piano, he was like, oh, I can't be bothered with this. I've got a gig tonight. No. And sent him off on his way. So what did Prince do? Prince was really interested in basketball, but God bless him, he only grew to 5'3". And I don't know of a lot of basketball players currently that are professional that are 5'3". I don't think the percentage is very high, if it even registers on any kind of anything. You know what I mean? So no basketball for Prince. But he went to a friend's house who had several instruments in their basement. And he was like, hey, can I practice? Can I be down here just practicing and learning? And they were like, sure. Now, what they didn't realize is that he's like a prodigy. Okay. He learned all the instruments. He learned the drums. He learned the guitar. He learned the piano. Whatever it was, he could do it. So he starts getting really, really good. Now, listen, Mom and Dad of Prince, I don't know why you didn't realize that you had something to do with his talent. Why you could be all jealous and hateful. But then there was other things that were going on at home that were not so good. And by the time he was 10, his parents had divorced. So this sweet little Peter Pocket, 5'3", not playing basketball, learning all these instruments, has decided that he is going to go somewhere. He is going to be an artist. He didn't know he was going to be the artist formerly known as. He didn't know he was going to be an artist that was a symbol that you cannot pronounce because it's not that was a whole discussion on Oprah. Lord have mercy. Okay, we haven't gotten there yet. So he has a friend who helps him. Owen Husney helped him make a demo. And the demo was him playing all of the instruments, right? He arranged all of the instruments. And then he sang all of it. And that was the demo. And so they bring him to Warner Brothers Records at 19. And they said, listen, you got to listen to this demo. It's amazing. And they're like, sure, yeah. And so they listened to it and they're like, oh, that's really good. Who's the band? He's like, yeah, you're going to want to sit down for this. It's not a band. He's like, what do you mean it's not a band? He's like, it's one guy. He's like, it's one guy. Like, yeah. Like, well, who are the musicians with him, his band? He's like, he's the band. He recorded every single instrument. The drums, yeah, that's him. The bass guitar, that's him. The electric guitar, that's him. The acoustic guitar, yeah, that's him. The piano, that's him. The electric piano, yeah, that's him. And they were like, oh dear, we've got something special in our hands. Then he dances. Oh yeah, he dances. He's a natural performer. Yeah. And he is over the top. When I say over the top, I mean over the top. Pushing, pressing. So much so that he starts doing his music or whatever. And he goes on American Bandstand with Dick Clark. And that didn't go so good. This first interview, I think it was one of the first things that I saw when I was doing my research. I was like, oh, Love Bug. This isn't your thing. I was like, did you do all the instruments? Like, yeah. And like, he answered like, how long ago did you start writing music or whatever? And he holds up 4 fingers. When you were 15? I mean, like, literally, like he was talking to a toddler. And then he realized that that was not his jam. It was hard for him to be comfortable in front of a camera being interviewed. So he was like, okay, don't do a whole bunch of interviews. But he's writing this really controversial, very lusty music, saying things that, okay. Well, come to find out that when he was 10 and his mom got divorced, she was like, let me give you an introduction to sex. Here's Playboy and some erotic literature. And he was like, what am I supposed to do with this? He even admits a tad early, and a little pressing. But, okay. He goes into his music and he decides, let's push the boundaries. Let's get out there. And some of his critics said his style was ambiguous. It was neither super masculine and it was neither super feminine. It was somewhere in between. Now, I don't know that I mentioned that he 100% wore heels. Now, I'm not talking platforms. I mean 100% heels. And when you asked him, why do you wear heels? He said, because the women like it. Now, I'm going to tell you, me personally, I would have liked it because he was 5'3" and I'm 5'8". So I need you to get in some 6-inch stilettos because I like to see you eye to eye. I ain't mad at you. I just, that's just kind of how I vibe. So he's pushing the boundaries. He's going on tour. He's dancing. He's singing. He's making album after album after album. The biggest argument he's getting into with Warner Brother Records is about who owns his music. Okay, now I'm going to say that I cannot believe this is a thing. The record company owns the music that you made. This is why we still have Taylor's version out there. Y'all take notes. Take notes. Negotiate that up front. And I talked about in the last episode, Stevie said, I own the rights to my music, period, end of story, or we don't do business. That's when he went back to Motown. That was from the last episode. Have you heard that episode? Okay, I digress. But this was an issue. So finally, he starts writing slave on the side of his face and just coming to meetings like that. I mean, I'm not going to say that he was passive aggressive, but man, did he get his point across. Okay. They said, fine, we'll let you out of your contract. But he still didn't own Purple Rain. And when I say that this man was a master performer, you can watch the snippet that he did on Oprah. And that's not a stadium tour. This man did 29 tours from 19 to 56, 57. Do you realize how many tours that is? Is that 30 years? I think he was an artist for 40. Not even 40. 35 years. 20. He was touring all the time. He loved it. Now, he wasn't heavy into the drugs. He would go out with people and watch them have like a big old time. And he would sit in the corner. Legs crossed, hands crossed, watching. That's fine. Y'all do your thing. Get crazy. Get crunk. Do whatever you got to do. But I'm going to be right here. No. Don't touch me with that. No, I don't want any of that. No, thank you. But then you dance in heels, full on 3, 4, 5-inch heels, jumping off of 30-foot speakers, landing in a split. I don't know if he landed in a split. That would probably break him. But it was excessive. He started having some pain in his joints. Okay? We age, and sometimes it's not gracefully when we bang our bodies up trying to be fabulous for other people. I mean, I know every single person that ever went to a Prince concert feels like they won the lottery. I legit am kind of jealous of anybody that got to go. But he started hurting. And then what do they offer you when you start hurting? They're like, oh, here's some pain meds. Here's some painkillers. Here's some opioids. And what's the bad news about opioids, everybody? Let's say, let me hear from the back. Yeah, they're addictive. Serious problem. But by the time he's 37, he meets a woman that he wants to marry, the love of his life, okay? And all he wants to do is be a daddy. Now, if you saw the interview that he did with Oprah, this was around the time that his baby had been born. Now, the backstory on his son, Gregory, was that they got together, they got married. She got pregnant right away. He's writing songs about her. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. Let's have a baby was one of the songs. I mean, go listen to that. Oh, Lord. Be careful who you're sitting next to if you listen to that song. But, and they get pregnant and they get to a certain point in the ultrasound process and the doctors are like, there's a problem. You know, we really need to investigate what's going on and do some further testing. And he just wouldn't have it. He just wouldn't have it. Prince said, no, we're not doing anything. The baby is going to be fine. God is going to take care of my baby. And unfortunately, the baby was born with a lot of physical disabilities and did not survive. And this devastated him. Even his close friends were like, this was the turning point. So we've got problems with our hips. We're hurting. Then we have a marriage that's brand new. Any kind of trauma is a struggle especially for a brand new couple. She tried to get pregnant again. She had a miscarriage. And so their relationship broke up. He continues right back into the touring and making music. He built a 55 to 65,000 square foot compound home. Is that a home? I don't know. It's the size of the White House. It was named Paisley Park, and he lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the reason that he lived there is because nobody bad could be there because it was cold. It was too cold for them. The reason he lived there is because he felt like he could be more himself. He wasn't chased around. Now, did he really leave the compound? Not really. As he aged, it was more and more about staying inside, protecting himself. He was able to record an entire album because he had a full studio. He was able to record music videos inside this 55,000 square foot home. But with that comes a lot of loneliness. When you're isolating yourself from the world so the world can't get in, you have a tendency to isolate yourself. But what I will tell you about Prince is that all the interviews that I did listen to, which he didn't do a ton, but those that I did listen to, his voice is one of the most soothing speaking voices I've ever heard. He was so intent on creating music for people that he couldn't stop. He had 3 albums that were released after he passed. And I can imagine there's still more available. But he liked to keep the fans guessing. He liked pushing the fashion boundaries. When he did the thing about his name, I think that he was really struggling with his identity. And he was taking the symbol for male and the symbol for female and trying to contortion them into a thing. Like trying to identify himself. And so he ended up with what he felt like was a mixture of the two, male and female symbols. And that was going to be his name. And, and then the question comes up, okay, well, if that's your name, then what do people call you? I mean, his wife said, well, I just say, hey. Friends said, I just say, brah. I say, boss. I say, hey, you. And a part of that kind of hurt. Just hearing it. Then he became the artist formerly known as, or just the artist. There was so much tragedy that followed Prince. And if you think that fame is this beautiful gift, that being so talented and such an amazing performer is like magic, it comes with a really hefty price. You're hiding in a compound. And ultimately, Prince overdosed on opioids and died by himself in his compound and was found later when no one could reach him. And though the story has such a tragic ending, his legacy, the icon that he was, truly affected so many people's careers, including my next artist. All right, guys. Snoop Dogg has called her a daredevil, funny, fly, living on the edge. Her mother calls her Melissa Arnett Elliott. I'd call her Missy Elliott. You may call her Misdemeanor. But this woman was a visionary. But she came from a humble start. So let me tell you a little bit about that. Her dad was originally a Marine. She was an only child. So she lived with mom and dad, but they got to a place where dad lost his job and they didn't have anything. And they're living in a shack that's heated by propane with no running water. And dad's swatting mice off the top of her while her and her mother are sleeping. Some discourse between mom and dad starts to happen. And dad starts physically abusing her mother. Meanwhile, when she's 8, she starts going over to her aunt's house. And her 16-year-old cousin decides to start sexually molesting her on the daily for an entire year until they were caught by her aunt. She never told her mother until much later. Her dad finally pulled a pistol on her mother. And Missy recalls this incident with such vivid detail that it really shaped a lot of what happened going forward. Now, Missy was a very interested kid in things like, music and writing and beats and all of these things. Not so much in the school portion. And she was funny. She was the class clown. She took an IQ test in school at one point, and she tested at a genius IQ level. And because she was a class clown, and because she was always messing around doing beats on the lockers, they said, let's take that again, because I don't think that's right. She took it again. Genius level. So they bumped her up 2 grades. And she was so mad about being bumped up 2 grades that she purposely failed and said, put me back with my friends. And they did. I said, okay, fine. And so she'd literally be in the hallways making beats. At lunchtime, making beats. And she had a friend in her neighborhood. Well, you might know him as Timbaland. Yeah, Missy Elliott and Timbaland. Okay, maybe you already knew this, but I didn't know this. I've heard Timbaland all over the place. Remember other episode with Justin Timberlake? Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. So they started off together. They were pals. They were friends. Like, she had a group called Phasey at 18. And they actually went to a Jodeci concert, and they said, let's dress up like Jodeci. So they had the whole gear on, and we're going to get backstage. So they snuck backstage, and she met Devonte, don't get mad at me. She met Devonte, and they performed for them. Like, this is it. And he said, yeah, I'm going to get you signed. And they got signed by Elektra Records. And so they start working with him. And quickly realize, controlling, bye-bye, no. And so he is not only mentally abusive and controlling, at the end of it, he's like throwing stuff in the studio, acting a fool. And she's like, absolutely, I have to get out of this. And she's devastated because she's moved away and she's trying to figure it out and she's on her own and she's young. So she hooks back up with Timbaland again. And they start to write and produce songs for other people. And at some point, Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, how many different names do you have? I don't know what he was then. Sean P. Diddy Combs. You know the guy. He runs into her in a music studio and was like, hey, haven't I seen you? Don't you rap? And she's like, yeah. He's like, well, come over here and do something for me on this track that I'm working on. And so she's like, okay, this is it. This is your American Idol. She didn't think American Idol, but this is your moment. This is your X Factor moment. And she goes over there and just throws it down. And he said, yep, we're going to do this. Now, previously, she had tried to get into this industry. And one of the things that they had to say about Missy Elliott was something about her weight, something that really has something to do with her talent. Your weight directly affects your weight does not affect your talent at all. Oh, no, it does not. And she really struggled with this idea that she needed to look a certain way in order to be the multi-talented, multifaceted, amazing producer and songwriter that she was. She even had a video that she was in that she rapped on, and they replaced her person with a thinner, quote unquote, more attractive person in the music video. Can you imagine? So she had something to prove. Okay. So here comes Puff Daddy saying, I want you to do something. So she says, listen, I'm going to produce it with Timbaland. So in 1997, she does her debut album, and it debuted at number 3, the highest charting debut for a female rapper at the time. She comes out swinging, and she said, let's do some music videos. And not only am I going to be my size, oh, I'll be bigger than my size. Put me in a garbage bag. My talent will speak for itself. Woohoo! Come on now. Your talent will speak for itself. Yes, yes, it will. Missy Elliott. Yes, it will. She ended up writing for Whitney Houston. She did a single for Madonna. She did a song. She's done things for Fantasia, Kesha Cole. She was friends with Aaliyah. And for those of you that don't know, there was a tragic ending to Aaliyah's life. And she had such a close connection with her that it really started to mess with her mind. All that Missy wanted to do with her music, outside of being creative and doing that whole thing, is to rescue her mother from the shit that they grew up in. And by the time that she made some money, the first thing that she did, she said, Mama, I'm going to build you a house. And she did. And then it was, I'm just going to make music that I like, that's real, and I'm going to push some boundaries. And when this all happened, she buys the house and she says, Mama, I've got to tell the story. She's had her first 2 albums and they've gone really well. And right before her 3rd album, after Aaliyah passed away, she said, Mama, I've got to tell the story about what happened to me. I have to tell the story about me being sexually molested when I was 8 years old. I have to tell the story about watching my mother get physically abused when I was a child. And her mother was like, absolutely not. These are the things that we do not tell. These are the secrets we keep. We don't share these with other people. And Missy said, I have to speak my truth because it's going to help somebody. There's somebody out there thinking that they're the only one. There's somebody out there that thinking that their story is the only story like that. And it's going to help people. Now, I don't know how. There's some people who go through years of therapy who can't recognize this kind of information. But saying the truth out loud does help other people because there are other people that are holding that secret in. There are other people wanting to be on a music video thinking, I don't look like everybody else in the music videos. How could I do it? But don't I have talent? Don't I have merit? Don't I have skill? Doesn't that matter? And Missy Elliott said, absolutely yes. And when it got to a point where it was really kind of becoming too much for her, her body started reacting. Her blood pressure was sky high. She went to the hospital and they said, listen, if you don't start taking care of yourself, you're going to stroke out and die. And so she put herself onto moderate eating and exercise, and she started to lose weight. Well, then she started to lose weight without even trying. And then she found out that she had Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disease, weight loss, dizzy spells, all these other nervous system issues that she ended up having. And so she has to kind of take a back seat. So she has to walk away from the limelight in order to take care of her health. And she got a lot of backlash when she started losing weight. First of all, you don't know the whole story. And second of all, we can evolve and grow. Now, is anyone less of a person according to how much they weigh on a scale? Absolutely not. But do they think they're a better person because they weigh less on a scale? That's not what was happening. The whole story was out there. And even if she made a decision for her health, to protect her health, she's allowed to do that. But I'm going to tell you, haters going to hate. But she continued on. And she was gone for several years. And it was time for her to come back. And she was like, nobody's going to know who I am. And I'm going to tell you, she was the first female rapper inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She has 6 studio albums and 4 Grammys. One of which was when she came back and did Lady Marmalade. The one with Lil' Kim and Christina Aguilera and Pink. But she came back and killed it. She's collaborated with Pharrell Williams. In 2020, Billboard ranked her at number 5 on the 100 greatest music video artists of all time. She received the MTV VMA's Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award for her impact on the music video landscape. Like, she was pushing boundaries and creating music, and she has been behind the scenes The whole time. She's done guest appearances with the Pussycat Dolls, Demi Lovato, J. Cole, Busta Rhymes, Katy Perry, Little Mix, Toni Braxton, Dua Lipa, Ariana Grande, Lizzo, Diplo. I mean, the list goes on. But if she had listened to the people who said to her, you don't look like what we think you're supposed to look like. In an image-conscious industry, you don't match what we're trying to put out there. Sorry, I ain't about that. I've got something to say. I've got something to do. And I'm not going to listen to you. Which brings me to my next artist, who also didn't listen to what people told her to do. Next up, Lizzo. All right, next up, we are talking about none other than Lizzo. Why do I have to sing it? I don't know. She was born Melissa Vivian Jefferson in Detroit, Michigan, but they moved to Houston, Texas. And this is where everything kind of started for her, okay? She's a flautist. Did you know that was a word? She plays the flute. Yeah, she does. Okay, if you don't know that, you don't know Lizzo. And you're going to find that out today, and you're going to become a fan. I'm promising you, you're going to become a fan of Lizzo today, okay? She, in 5th grade, was like, let me be in the band. And she was, because it was a cool thing to do at the time, because her band director was doing the popular songs off the radio, rearranged. So everybody loved them. And she was like, okay, I've got to be really, really good at this. So she practiced night and day to be amazing. And she ended up being first chair. For those of you that don't know, first chair is the chair that you want. You would think it was third chair. No, you wouldn't think that. It's first chair. First chair means that you're the closest to the audience. So your sound is heard first. I don't know if that's a technical, but that's what it is. That's what we want to hear. The best at the front. Whatever's coming to me first. Anywho, she is going through life and she talks about her self-esteem when she was growing up. And she said, when I was born, I thought I was amazing. I thought I was everything great. And of course she was. She's Lizzo. She said the world kind of started sneaking in and having a couple comments here and there. She was like, oh, so there's something wrong with my hair? Oh, I didn't think anything was wrong with my hair. My thighs are okay. Thighs are not the right size. Okay. My face isn't right. My smile's not right. Oh my gosh. Well, like, how have I been rolling around like this? Like, I had no idea that everything was wrong. And then we start inserting some self-doubt. But she was good at playing the flute. So we focused hard on that. And she loved music. And though she grew up in a house of music, she wasn't a singer. So she was like, let's start a girl group. And she was like, and I'll rap. So her first girl group when she was in high school was the Cornrow Clique. Yeah, that's what I said. And I'm sticking to it because that's what she said. And she was like, this is what I gotta do. I gotta be a performer. I'm gonna be a female rapper. I'm gonna be like Missy Elliott. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing and I'm gonna love it. And it's gonna be so much fun. And so she was like, I've got to go to Minneapolis. So she did. She left school and she went to Minneapolis. I mean, originally she thought, I'll be a flautist. When she got to high school, that was when she was like, okay, maybe I should do the flute thing forever. Maybe I'll go to Paris and I'll be at the Paris Conservatory and I'll just be one of the crowd. I don't really want to be front and center. And then when she realized that dream was a no-go, then it was like, okay, well maybe I'll rap because I'm not a singer. Okay, so then she goes out and then she starts this band called The Chalice, a group that she helped form off of Craigslist. She answered an ad, so she was a rapper. And then that didn't work out so great, and she was good, but then her dad died when she was 20 in 2010. And we had a full stop. She went back home. She was so depressed that she shut down for an entire summer. Not answering phone calls, no emails, no text messages, no nothing. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be around you. I can't do this. And so then finally, after she pulled herself out of that and said, okay, new dream. I've got to make a new dream. She said, okay, the rapping thing, I don't know if that's really what I want to do, but maybe I could, okay, what if it was me? Just me, and I've been going around and originally it was Lizzo, and then people started saying Lizzo, and I'm going to be Lizzo. I'm going to be Lizzo, and I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to have my own album, and I'm going to help people, and I'm going to teach people to be positive, because this nonsense of being depressed and hiding, I mean, that's not the way. That's not the way. And I can't go that way. Okay. All right. I mean, and things didn't work out. Okay. It didn't work out for me to go to Paris. It didn't work out for me. I mean, I wasn't expecting my dad to die. And okay. So now she releases Lizzo Bangers in 2013, her debut album. And that was a full-on rap album. And then in 2019, she comes out with 'Cause I Love You. And that's got Good as Hell, Juice, and she's 31. Now, for those of you who have not been paying attention to any of the other episodes that I have done, I mean, first of all, shame on you. Go back and listen after you finish with this one, of course. But a lot of people start a lot younger than this. But Lizzo said, this is my destiny. I am meant to be a performer, and I'm going to keep going. I'm not trying to start anything. You know, this isn't church, but if it was church, the sermon of the day is press on. Okay, press on, and don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. I'm just saying. She didn't let anybody tell her what she can or cannot do. Her song, Good as Hell, she'll tell you it's a sad song. It's about getting broken up with. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be just fine without you. I'm just going to do my hair toss, and I'm going to check my nails. And, okay, and I'm going to be fine. I'm fine. And then I'm going to write a song called Juice, and you just wish. And you have no idea. And people are telling me that I'm too big for whatever. No, not true. No, actually not true. Now, I don't know that Lizzo started out in the music industry thinking that she was going to be an icon for the body positivity movement, but here she is. More so than that, she will tell you she isn't trying to be an icon for body positivity. She is just trying to be. You can just be whatever you are with your talent, and you can just say, I am good enough exactly the way that I am. Here's my music. Do you like it? Wonderful. Great. She gets out on stage, and she is going to have a conversation with you. She'll say to you, I want you to say, I love you. I want you to say, you are beautiful. And I want you to say, you can do anything. If I was in the middle of that concert, I'm going to tell you, I might get choked up about that a little bit. Her song Truth Hurts was the first #1 hit on Billboard Hot 100. It spent 7 weeks on the top, tying for the most weeks at #1 for a rap song by a female artist. This is a woman who thought that she couldn't sing. Now, I really beg to differ. When you go back and you listen to the Tiny Desk concert that she did, you will absolutely be blown away by her talent and her charisma and her showmanship. I mean, just wow. She went back to her high school at one point, and she said to them, and this was to me the most pivotal thing for the Gen Z generation right now, and for me and for you and for everybody. Not knowing what you're doing has nothing to do with where you're going. I mean, do you love that? You don't have to know what you're doing. This idea, this is where anxiety is born. I hate to get on a soapbox, but this is where anxiety is born, where you believe that you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You cannot be confident that everything is going to be okay, and you're freaking out about it. You don't have to know what you're going to do, but you are headed somewhere. So keep on, keep pressing on. She had time after time after time that said, nope, that's not the way. You want to be a flautist in Paris? That's not going to happen. You think that you're going to be the best rapper in the world? Okay, well, maybe that's not going to really happen. Maybe you're going to have to sing. Maybe you're going to have to pull that flute out. No one's ever done that before? Okay, well, you're going to be the one to do it. Maybe you're going to be an advocate for the plus size people. Maybe you're going to remind them that they have value. She had to make a decision in 2009 to love herself wholly. There was a decision that she had to make. She had to listen to her band director when she was in high school, who said, you may have talent, but you're going to have to find discipline. She had to decide that she was not going to listen to what the world had to say about her or her size or what she should look like or what color her skin should be or how many times that she could talk about fill in the blank on TikTok, and said, I'm going to do what I know to do to bring positivity to others and to help them. Her album Special should knock you off your feet. She brings you into the place where she was in 2020, when we're sitting at home watching TikTok or watching Netflix or whatever it is that we were doing, and reminds us that there was work that was being done. This woman is so incredibly talented that it hurts me to think that there was a moment in time where she thought, I don't have the value. I don't look right. And even though I don't know that she intended to be this champion, she's taken it on. She said, okay, we're going to walk in this direction. And it has made her the first Black solo female R&B singer to claim the top spot on the Hot 100 since Rihanna's 2012 hit Diamonds. It's made her 2019's Times Entertainer of the Year. She actually worked with Prince in 2014. All from a girl who grew up in Houston, Texas, who just wanted to perform, who had to set aside all the things that society had told her and say, I'm going to know my own truth. I'm going to decide my own value. I'm going to set my own standards. I'm going to decide what healthy looks like for me. I'm going to help lead a generation away from the idea that there is only one way to be. And me personally, I can't wait to see what else she does. She is a shining light, and she's real and genuine for a generation that needs to see that. All right, guys, that was it. I know. Are you sad? I hope that you feel kind of pumped up. I really do feel like this episode was about being your most authentic self. And that if you start heading down a journey and you get a sudden left turn, go right. Go straight. Turn around. Find a different direction. Get a different roadmap. There's no reason to give up. There's no reason to walk away and say, well, I guess it's not for me. Because we have bends in the road. We have forks where we feel like we should have gone this way and then we went this way. Whatever it is, I really feel like you need to know your story's just not over. We're not done. And if you have something that you feel like you need to bring to the world, aka this little podcast where I don't know how many of you are listening, but I love every single one of you. And you think, I want to be a successful podcast host. I want to interview people. I want to be the CEO of my own company. And you think, I don't know how I'm going to get to that place. But just keep going, okay? Just don't quit. Just don't stop and try. And never believe the negative nonsense that people say about you, because it's just not true. The truth of the matter is that you do have value. The truth of the matter is that you are enough, exactly how you are. And if you choose to improve yourself in any way, do it just for you. Don't do it for the world. Don't do it for the boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, partner, family member. Whatever you do it because you know that you have something that you want to bring to the table that you haven't brought yet. Find a way to bring it to the table. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I have enjoyed making it for you. I hope you go out into this week and have a glorious one. If you liked the episode, please share it with somebody. Make sure you rate the episode. And I appreciate you. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time on 3 Degrees.